All right, we'll stay with this developing story and speak to Chad Thomas, CEO of IRS Forensic Investigations and one of South Africa's leading financial and violent crime experts. Chad, always a pleasure. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So, these are serious allegations, and I will get to them in just a moment. But perhaps for the benefit of some of the viewers who may not know who Col Dawood is, for example, let's speak about him and the role he plays within crime intelligence.
A very good evening. Col Dawood is part of the anti-kidnapping task team, which was set up by the National Crime Intelligence Office as a public-private partnership between the private security industry and the South African Police Service to try to combat what was initially high-profile kidnap for ransoms that were taking place within certain communities. They then expanded their mandate into investigating express kidnappings and were even involved in investigating CIT heist, ATM bombings, and such.
Now, when you look at these allegations, he is claiming that these are allegations that are not related to his work in the police service, but a civil matter that he says was resolved, ages ago. So perhaps we speak about the seriousness of the allegations he's facing.
So the allegations are serious. When you start talking about extortion, assault, GBH, it starts looking as if somebody has done something exceptionally serious. But at the heart of this, and I hate to use the terminology, it's a telenova of sorts. It is somewhat of a personal matter. Col Dawood's wife was involved with a gentleman prior to meeting Col Dawood and marrying Col Dawood. That particular individual and her, together with her family, had a financial dispute. It led to criminal charges. Those charges were later withdrawn. And once she married Col Dawood obviously took it upon himself that he wanted to remedy the situation of outstanding funds owed to his wife's family. And that's where this whole issue came about. Did he overstep his mark as a police officer? Did he abuse his position as a police officer in trying to negotiate some or other settlement with this third-party complainant? But when I say a telenova, it's at the heart of this is a woman, and the two men that are implicated, the one that's the complainant is her ex, the one that's been complained about, the accused, is her present. And one has to wonder about the timing of this, because Col Dawood is part of the crime intelligence component headed up by General Feroz Khan, which we all know is factionalized. We all know they form part of a particular faction, and there's this fight for control within SAPS at the moment. So is there a nefarious agenda at play here to try and look for cases, resurrect those cases, and use those cases as a means to an end? But either way, Col Dawood has to answer to the very serious allegations that the complainant has made against him. But we also have to take into consideration that this case was laid quite some time ago. The state has had a long time to consider this. They've enrolled the matter, they've issued an arrest warrant, and the burden rests with the NPA to determine whether or not they're going to play factionalism. If they're going to enroll a case and issue arrest warrants, they must be certain they're doing it for the right reasons. And they mustn't become part of this factionalism and this divisiveness that's playing out within the South African Police Service.
And that's exactly, part of the problem, right? Because these allegations are very serious. And as you say, they also point to the ongoing challenges and concerns around the South African Police Service. We're hearing about a lot of this, for example, from the Madlanga Commission, a concern in and itself. We heard of them when it comes to the work of the ad hoc committee in Parliament. Now we are here with someone very senior within crime intelligence and now facing serious allegations. What do these allegations do to the credibility of crime-fighting efforts when, you're looking at the work of the police service? Because it is very clear the battle lines have been drawn, and factionalism is really, something that we cannot shy away from as when we talk about the police.
When the police is at war with itself and law enforcement agencies are dragged in to do the dirty work, whether it's IDAC that we heard today, where the Andrea Johnson as the director does not want to be party to what's termed self-incrimination by talking about her correspondence with General Khan, or whether it's the NPA enrolling dockets and issuing J50s against other members from different units, it doesn't speak well to the state of our policing in South Africa and our law enforcement cluster as a whole. And who benefits from this? Organized crime. Criminals benefit. They rub their hands gleefully when they see the police fighting with themselves, when they see other law enforcement agencies being dragged into this, because now you've got this massive distraction. And while this distraction is taking place, these criminals are free to continue doing as they please.
Sure, and as you say, quite serious, especially when it comes to the image of the SAPS and what we continue then to hear. But let's see then, Chad, how this matter in fact unfolds, and also some of the allegations they're levelled against this particular important institution in the Mahlanga Commission. I appreciate your time as always. Chad Thomas is the CEO of IRS Forensic Investigations and one of South Africa's leading financial and violent crime experts.